Okay, so this is a video just to show you how you can use the Sony high-res audio headphone amplifier with various devices. By far the easiest device to use with is an iOS device, so that's an iPad. This is an old iPod Touch 2nd generation with the 30-pin adapter, and that works perfectly fine. You just plug it straight in and all the audio gets piped through here, so you get all the benefits of this headphone amplifier. Now, you also use a lightning cable with it as well, which works perfectly fine. With Windows, you have to install drivers and a piece of Sony software, and then it manages to push all of the audio from Windows through it, so you can play high-res audio and everything else. Anyway, part of the battle with iOS, because it's a more closed system, although not so much these days, but to get files on, obviously on a Windows computer you can just drag and drop and it's very, very simple. With iOS, I found that there's a Sony high-res audio piece of software which is called Music Center, which is this one here, and this allows you to copy files over. It actually reads the audio files that are on your device, but it also allows you to use iTunes to copy files over. So what I thought I'd try is, let's launch iTunes. Let's move a few of these things out of the way. So if I plug my iPad in, and then click on the iPad. There we go. We don't want any new software. File sharing, I think it was. So Music Center comes up. You can see it here as an app. So let's click on that. And then I guess I'm dragging files into there. Yeah, so add files. Actually, let's try and see if we can drag it in, because I've got the files here. So here's some high-res audio, there's some Prince tracks and some Lake Street Dive tracks. So if I select those and drag them. Nice thing about this is that a lot of the other high-res audio players, you have adverts or you have to pay to use them. Because this is a Sony one, not really intended for this use, but I'm guessing it's going to work fine. So that's copying over quite quickly via Lightning. Some of these files are quite big. If I go back to that folder, you can see 152 megabytes for that track, so quite large. So that looks like that's copied over. Yeah, those are all in there. So now what I'll do is eject the iPad, and we'll have a look and see. Don't know what I did there. Oh, no, I do. Right, so go back. So songs. Yeah, newly added songs. So it's actually in there. Yeah, so we can see that it says high-res audio next to the track. I wonder if it tells us transfer song, detailed information. Oh, there you go. That's cool. Oh, yeah. So 96 kilohertz, 24-bit, and so that's the Lake Street Dive album that I had. And let's try the Prince tracks and see detailed information. 192 kilohertz, 24-bit. So that's the highest audio quality that this headphone amplifier will cope with. So let's go ahead and plug that in. Okay, so here's how we plug in. Just a normal Lightning connection that you get with your iPad or iPhone. That goes into the headphone amplifier, into the ordinary USB socket there. Switch on, and you'll get a green light on here. And I've just got it, for the purpose of this video, going through a 3.5mm jack into the Bose speaker, just so you can hear it really. So it looks like quite a nice simply laid out app. It's obviously designed for phone rather than iPad. So if I go into songs, this will have all the songs that are on my device. You can create playlists on here as well. So I think, how do we do playlists? Create new playlists. So if I do playlist, and let's call this high res, and then we'll pick some tracks to put on it. Well, there's the Prince track, Lake Street Dive, that's high res as well, high res, and there's one more, that one. So that's all the high res tracks that are on here. So that's put in a playlist. There you go. It keeps the album artwork, it looks like, as well. So if I start to play a track, must have pressed that twice. So basically that's how you get it to work with the Sony app, and so there's no adverts. You can put whatever songs you want on there. It supports loads of different formats. So definitely the easiest way of doing it. Obviously this would be your headphones plugged in. I've got some Meizu headphones, HD50s, which actually sound really lovely. With this headphone amplifier, they really sound a lot better. Now, the headphone amp probably warrants better headphones again, but it really has breathed a new life into those Meizu headphones, which sounded decent already. I've got some of the Sony, what are these, MDR 10s, MDR 10 RCs, which are high-res audio headphones, but they interestingly sound nowhere near as good as my Meizu headphones. They're just nowhere near as detailed, even though they support the wider frequency response. But then obviously my ears probably don't handle the wider frequency response because I'm no spring chicken. But so that's the easiest way. You can also use, if you just use an ordinary 30-pin cable, that will go through the headphone amplifier in exactly the same way. So again, really simple to set up. All the audio is just going out of the iPod, whatever sounds it makes, even if you're playing a game. So if I put, let's put some tracks on here. You can see it says dot connector on there, so the audio is coming through there. And again, you can't really tell because I'm playing it through a speaker, so it defeats the object. But this is more about showing you how it works with all sorts of devices. So basically you're just using the ordinary Apple cable straight through, and any audio this makes will come through. Actually, something interesting that I noted, aside from this, but I might as well say it now. If I start playing a track, nice to see Billy Ray Cyrus on there. Right, so if I start playing a track, this is something really nice about the older iPods, is that the AirPlay icon comes up straight away. And rather than having to go through that audio menu, I quite like the older way of doing it. So if I put it on my HomePod speaker, there you go, nice and quick, and it starts coming out of my HomePod speaker. So that's my super old device. I mean, it's worth so little, but I like coming back to it, and it's surprisingly smooth and still works really well. Anyway, this is more about the headphone amplifier, so let's get rid of that. Okay, so something else I found out, the Sony Music app plays high-res audio files, but it also joins the tracks together. Which is great if you've got an album where you know, it's a continuous mix, you don't get those gaps, and some other audio players I've had before have put spaces in between those tracks, but this plays 192 kilohertz 24-bit tracks, and there's no gap. So I've read the instructions and I've tried to get this working with my Mac. Basically you just plug in the USB, plug it into the input socket on the front here, which is that one, and then switch it on. So that's powering up. But what should happen now is when I click on output, I should get different options, and I should be able to pick the Sony headphone amplifier there. But that, for some reason, isn't working. Now, this is an old Mac, 2010, but then it's a slightly older headphone adapter. I'm running the latest software, so I don't quite know why that works, but it doesn't work on my Mac. But I'm not too worried because I use it on my iPad or my phone mostly. But that's that one. So this is my Sony amp playing back through a Windows 10 tablet. So if I plug in the micro USB, you can use the this cable with an ordinary Windows computer. So that would plug into the input socket and into the computer there. But obviously this has got only micro USB on it. So I'll plug in using the proprietary connector. And here you can see Sony headphone amplifier has come up. That says default device already, so that's picked it on its own. So let's, oh good, Windows wants updates, never mind. So Music Center, that's the Sony program. Oh, you've got to hide it, have you? I don't like Windows 10 updates. They do seem to happen all the time. Right, so, oh, I've used this program before, so I'm surprised it's coming up with a message. Here we go. And I tried this with high-res audio files before. Not the nicest piece of software to use. Well, I suppose it would be better on a desktop. You know, with touch control on this small device, it's not good at all. So let's start playing a track. Do I have to double tap? Okay, so that's it playing with Windows using the Sony Music Center for PC software. But it would also work with ordinary audio as well, so you can send all your audio through this. Obviously you wouldn't normally use a speaker, but putting that through headphones to enhance the audio. So if you're watching something on YouTube, say a music clip, then it'll add to that as well. Okay, so that's it running through Windows and also running through iOS. Okay, so that's the device. It is a great device. The audio quality from this is incredible. It really improves the audio output on if I plug headphones into a PC or plug them into my iPad, iPod or phone. Anything that's played through this just has so much more space, so much more depth to the bass. And it doesn't matter if it's not high-res audio. If you just want better quality audio, and I'm using Meizu HD50 headphones, which I think cost about £60, something like that. So they're not expensive headphones, but it's improved them no end. I'm going to try some much higher quality headphones to see if the difference is even more. But already it sounds completely different to headphones that I've listened to before. So yeah, as a device, I love it. It's great. And at the end of this, I'm going to try and do some audio recordings where I record the audio from my phone output and also from this output, and just do a comparison on the end. It's not scientific. It's obviously you're listening to it through YouTube. Maybe through headphones would be obviously a lot better than listening through a phone speaker or a computer speaker. But just for a bit of fun. All right. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.
I got a pair of the hair on my shoulder. It's a pair and it's there and it's bolder. Like I show you my cards, I'm no folder. Yes, I'm a soldier. Got a pair of the hair on my shoulder. It's a pair and it's there and it's bolder. Like I show you my cards, I'm no folder. Yes, I'm a soldier.
Oh, when it all,
Yeah.
all falls down.
This the real one, baby.
I'm telling you,
Chi-Town stand up.
down. Oh, when it all,
Yeah.
all falls down.
This the real one, baby.
I'm telling you,
Chi-Town stand up.
You're my last breath. You're a breath of fresh air to me. I am in. You're my last breath. You're a breath of fresh air to me.
I've never seen a diamond in the flesh. I cut my teeth on wedding rings. I've never seen a diamond in the flesh. I cut my teeth on wedding rings.